Episode 13 of Wife or Bust. I have with me Joel. And if you guys haven't been with us before, my name is Chris Bates. My book just came out, The Dating Edge. It's on Amazon. And it's basically all about what Joel and I are doing as we go on a journey to find him his wife. We've used Hinge primarily, but we've also done a lot of different things. If you haven't seen the first few episodes, we talk about setting up his Hinge profile, getting into the wild. All of these principles I cover in my book, and Joel has just been crushing it, and he has been a really good guinea pig / courageous individual to share his experience so we can teach you guys how to better find the right person for you in the modern dating world, which can be tumultuous sometimes. So Joel, last time, and I have to pull up my notes because it's been a month.
Yeah.
And we normally do this every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Last time you talked, it was part 2 of the best date you've ever been on. That was pretty impetuous.
Yeah.
With a woman named Madison. You're kind of grieving that. If you didn't see those episodes, the last 2, they're awesome. Honestly, it's the best date I've ever heard of.
It's so good.
And I'm not overselling that.
That's right.
There was also this East Texas girl.
Yep.
You were considering revamping your Hinge, kind of just needed a dating refresh because you weren't feeling it.
Yeah.
So we gotta update all of these categories.
We gotta catch up.
Tell us about kind of coming back, or even did you come back from that state of grief after the first, or rather the best date ever?
Yes. Well, I want to address the elephant in the room, and I'm wearing the exact same clothes that I did in the episode before. That shows that I'm a very simple man.
Consistent?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
Consistent. So if you watched episode before, episode 12, this is the exact same clothes, and I didn't notice it until we were reviewing 12. But since that time, a month ago, wearing the same exact clothes, different man, different experiences. That's for sure. A lot happened in the last month. It's so interesting that you talked about that girl in East Texas, because I totally, until you just told me before we started, totally forgot about her. And I believe there was, the last time we were talking, I was down, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was grieving how, like, putting so much effort, time, finances. You know, this has been a road from, you know, investing the time of even just doing this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, we have to rent this podcast and we have to edit it, and it takes Chris time in terms of editing, and we have to break our day, and we both are running businesses and entrepreneurs, and he has his book and he's doing so much with his book. And then there's also the emotional investment as well. I didn't know how much time it was going to take to be like updating a Hinge profile, talking to other people. And it really, I am understanding where people can get so jaded in the dating world, because being able, just this past week, I was trying to get in connection with somebody on Hinge. And it was this like back and forth on the app, and I don't have my notifications, and maybe, you know, that's on me maybe. But I don't have a lot of notifications on my phone for a reason. Like I'm a busy businessman.
Yep.
And I have a lot of people that I'm answering to throughout the day. Have more notifications. I'm not interested, and I have a space to be able to go back to Hinge, and I'm trying to drive off of Hinge as fast as I can. And we had made some preliminary plans to be able to get on a call. I initially was like, hey, let's go do dance lessons. Like, let's go do that. That would be a ton of fun. And she initially was in, and then she was like, well, why don't we get on FaceTime to see if, you know, we work well. And then trying to figure out the time, and I kept asking her for, hey, what's your phone number? Like, if we want to connect, let's get this off. And she never necessarily she did not give me her phone number. And our communication throughout Hinge was off and on throughout the last week. I had I had 4 presentations in Dallas this past weekend. So there was a lot of different moving pieces and parts that were going to it. And here it is, like, there's 50 plus inbound likes that I just haven't cleared. And here I am trying to connect this one person. We can't connect with it. And I can understand now, like, I'm not the only one who's putting financial investment, emotional investment, time investment into trying to find the person that they want to spend a life with. You know, like I know that some people are on Hinge and they're like, oh, short term and so on. So maybe they are.
Mhm.
But in the end, no one's trying to live a life alone. Most people aren't.
Yeah.
We want some type of community, somebody that we can trust and can lean on. And we're all out there trying, but there's a short term like dopamine hit that everybody's looking for to have as many connections.
Mhm.
And I can see why, people get really exhausted doing this because you then find there's been plenty of women where I'm like, man, you seem really cool. Let's connect. Nothing,
Yeah.
And then you have a ton of inbounds and some of them are like, oh man, that's really great, but not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for. And then when you do try to connect with them, it's like, well, you wanted to connect with me. You sent me a rose. And now I'm like, hey, actually, this could work. And you reach out, nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And you start thinking to yourself, like, man, if it's very similar to like business and sales, like when
Mhm.
somebody's ready, they're ready, and you got to strike then,
Yeah.
We have a saying that for every 24 hours that somebody puts their head down on a pillow, for every 24 hours, use about 20% chance that you're going to close the sale. And
Mhm.
I'm recognizing that even with Hinge is like, unless you're on it like constantly, and as soon as you get there, like you're responding to them, you're getting into it, it can fade so quickly.
Yeah.
And there was just this after Madison, it was like, man, what am I doing here? Like I know I'm a great guy, and there's plenty of people in my life that are like, man, the woman that marries you is going to be super super lucky, and I want that feeling too. Like I want to come into her life and be told like, hey, the man that gets to marry you is really really lucky.
Mm.
But golly, man,
Hmm.
is it freaking exhausting?
Yeah. And I want to address that on a deeper level. But for those who don't remember or maybe here for the first time, episodes 1 through 4, we do a really good job breaking down a lot of what Joel just talked about. But I think it's worth mentioning a few things specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I experienced that too. After divorce, being on the apps for the first time and not knowing what I was doing, living in a city for the first time. And I think I got lucky because I didn't understand what I was doing at the time. I just
Mm-hmm.
made sense for my schedule to check the app briefly morning and evening,
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes, just to like remove everyone that I wasn't interested in
Yeah.
or follow up with the people I was or match with the people I was,
Right.
read some profiles. But it was I think that consistency served me well because you're talking about timing.
Yeah.
And timing is very important. And you have really small windows of opportunities and you have no idea of knowing if you're in the window or not.
That's right.
And so I think it is really exhausting to, you know, throw your best into the wind and hope that it comes back around. And I don't blame anybody for feeling exhausted by that. I got exhausted by that. Even when I started to feel like I was really in my groove, there are these natural ups and downs that we've talked about. But I would say if I had to give a few pieces of actionable advice for anybody
Would love that.
using Hinge, it's you don't need to spend a lot of time, but you do need to be somewhat consistent and in small increments. And you can take a break from it and come back. That's fine. A few days or the weekend or whatever. And I think the second thing would be is to just kind of look at it just like what you said. It's like it's not that don't have high expectations, but expect a fraction of connections. And moving it from the app to real life is so crucial, especially if you're in that window.
Right. Right. Right.
It only takes a couple messages and then a voice message, and then if they're excited about you, you ask for the number, and then you take it off the app. And I think the likeliness of hearing back from them is 10x.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you choose to go on a first date or a phone call or a FaceTime
Right,
or
right,
walk,
right.
whatever,
Right.
it's just convert from Hinge to phone number as fast as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not the first message, right? Because they're kind of feeling you out, but within the first few, you don't want to be a pen pal. And I know we've talked about it before,
Right.
but I think it's worth revisiting. But even with that strategy and even with those expectations, that doesn't mean at times that it can be very daunting and very discouraging.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching, I know you already know what I'm going
I
to say. My
What?
girlfriend and I, who I met on Hinge after almost 80 first dates, by the way, and she's lovely. She's remarkable. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I probably wouldn't be here in a lot of different senses without her.
That's right.
We were watching the extended series of Lord of the Rings.
Yes, you were.
We watched the Hobbit trilogy, of course, first, but
Of
the
course.
best is the original Lord of the Rings. There's at the end of the Two Towers, Sam says he has this very long, iconic spiel about they don't think that they can make it. They don't think they can deliver the ring to Mount Doom and save the world because they're exhausted. They've been traveling for so long. They've never been to where they're going, and they have various ailments or people working against them. And they're just two normal hobbits from the Shire, just like, you're a normal person in this big, wide dating world. And they get discouraged. And Sam says, you remember those stories that used to inspire us?
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason that the people in those stories who are facing hardships and trials were inspiring is that they had plenty of times to turn back or give up, but they chose not to.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like super cliche, and everyone's out there like, be consistent, just don't quit to be successful in X, Y, or Z. And as much as a lot of me wants to push against the grain, there is something to that.
Yeah.
And so, but it can exist simultaneously with feeling discouraged. So I think, I'm curious what as with your experience as like business mindset coach and being so deep into the dating world and putting so much effort into it, if you agree with this or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something beneficial about saying, hey, I'm allowed to feel discouraged. This is par for the course.
That's right.
But also, I know that the high risk and high investment yields high rewards.
Yes.
And the right person will be worth, one day I will look back and say, wow, I am glad
That's right.
that I endured all of this. Even I'm glad about the times that I considered throwing the towel in, because it gives me a value system to appreciate this person that I have in my life now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just say that because I know it can be annoyingly optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
But, we hit those times and a lot of things. Like I hit those times with book several times.
Oh my gosh.
I hit it with the business last week, trying to figure out this week, trying to figure out what to do. And man, you're just like, what am I doing here?
What am I doing?
So I resonate with that a lot. I think a lot of people probably do. And I appreciate you sharing that because, we're both hardworking, optimistic people that believe in good of people's, but it's good to acknowledge like sometimes you're just like,
yeah,
damn.
Yes.
Damn.
100%, man. 100%. So it, there was a point probably about 3 weeks ago. It was right before I had my retreat up in Tahoe. I ran a retreat up in Tahoe where I was just like, I don't know, man, and I went to this retreat or ran this retreat, and it was absolutely life-changing for the people who may be listening right now who are part of it, that they know. And there was also a pivot and a change there. I believe for me and energetically for the women who were there. And
What do you mean by that?
yeah, toss that out there. We've talked about this before, I think a little bit, and people may, know these terms, but like the masculine and the feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And this retreat is something that was in my heart and mind and in my plans 5 years ago. And with business, as I have approached also dating, is I'm in it for the long haul. And this is going to take time. And I could have ran a retreat 5 years ago. No problem. No problem. And I knew it wasn't the right time. I knew there were some other foundational things that needed it to happen for it to be the experience that it was. Mm. And going in there, I took all my skills from, running businesses and running events and running recreational programs, and like all my pieces of always being in front of people, being a presenter. And I brought it all together and running this, 30-person retreat. Mm. And I was 100% in my masculine, like guiding, protecting. There was a point, did I tell you about me getting rid of the spirits?
I don't know about that.
Dude, there were some spirits that came into the cabin, dude, that I had to like get my Bible in the name of Jesus Christ. I was slaying demons. Promise you, the whole story is absolutely wild. I thought I was going to kill one of our participants because I thought she was possessed 100%. It was the scariest moment probably of my entire life.
You
And
didn't tell me.
I didn't tell you, dude. It was an insane story.
I believe it.
It was an insane story. And well, the reason I'm telling you this is like I was just so in my masculine.
Yeah.
And being a leader, being able, like I was crying in front of people, but also being strong, holding space,
So like
leading them.
full spectrum leader, not just like the fake facade of I'm strong and impenetrable, but like all dimensions.
All dimensions. All dimensions. Well, in this retreat, there was somebody I brought there to service during the retreat, and she was an ex of mine, 4 years ago, and through that entire experience, it really opened up some things in her heart, and
kind of rekindled the attraction, seeing you in your element.
For sure. And there were some things in which we shared in our relationship where there was some exercises and energies that I did during that time. She was like, well, we did something similar like that. And so there was this whole like dynamic with what she was feeling. And there was some like the way that our relationship ended. It was never like a fully closed door. It was kind of like the door was left open. It wasn't like it was right person, wrong time. A scenario situation.
So she kind of reanimated the hope for what could be with you guys.
Yeah, we ended up getting on a phone call, a FaceTime, and talking on FaceTime. And initially I was there to like tell her like, hey, here are the financials for the end of it. I'm going to send you this money and so on and so forth. And then she opened up about her feelings during the retreat and about our relationship in the past and different things that she's gone through and where she's currently at. And it was a very beautiful conversation that we ended up having, where she's at, where I was at, and got to the point of really I had to move on to another call, and the door still didn't close. Like there was still like an open hinge to it.
Yeah.
And so that was like very interesting. And then I came back to Austin after that. And in real life that I talked about, who I decided to, like, hey, no, I need a Christian space there. Well, that looped back around. And she's been back in my life. And there's been this, we've been hanging out more. You actually got to meet her out at the farm. And
when you say in real life, it means you guys met originally
in
real life.
That's right.
Nothing to do with Hinge or
no.
Just kind of fell into place, and you're like, oh, there could be something here.
Yep.
It wasn't
we
the
always
right
stayed
time.
in contact, right?
Yeah.
And we hung out a couple different times. Worked out together, did paddleboarding together, those kind of things. Like,
so more of a organic slow burn.
Very, very organic slow burn. And it seems like it's heated up a little bit. Obviously to the point that, she came and, hung out with, my closest friends here in Austin. And we've been in touch ever since. And now it's kind of at that point where it's like, all right, well, what? For the both of us, what? Mm-hmm. And I'm at that point of like, okay, well, I'll step forward first here and be able to go, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Knowing that, again, for me, I'm at this point where it's just like, I'll put this on the line, even if this means like that torches a friendship, because what I'm looking for is not friendships. What I'm looking for is marriage.
Yeah.
And for me, it's totally okay to be able to go, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What are you feeling?
And I think that you save yourself time and her time by being more direct, as opposed to like wondering what if, or kind of pussyfooting around, right. or right. saying like, oh, do I get the signs? Sometimes it's just the best way, especially nowadays with time is so limited. People are pulled so many different ways. Quick question.
Yep.
No strings attached. This is how I'm feeling.
Yep.
How are you feeling?
Yep. Yeah.
So you did that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, but you're considering doing it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like at this point where, we've hung out other multiple times and, are talking more often where I'm like, okay, like one way or the other, if I'm going to be putting energy into this, there has to be a decision. And there's, again, I've talked about her before. She's a Christian woman.
Mhm.
We've gone to church together now at this point.
A lot of alignment.
There's a ton of alignment
Yeah.
with it. Younger, but also very growth minded,
Mm.
wants to get better, wants to heal. So there's a lot of like huge benefits
Yeah.
with her. And so, that door also is kind of like, okay, well, that door's kind of cracked open as well.
Mm.
And then there's one more. Honestly, there's actually a couple more, but there's one more at the retreat with somebody who I've known for a while now, who came up and was like, hey, like, here's my heart. I'll tell you how I'm feeling. And opening the door on that, like, hey, I felt like there was a different connection between us over this past weekend or being at the retreat. And I just want to come forward with it and see where we're at. And so this was a conversation that got brought up, and this was something that this same individual a year ago kind of said, like, hey, these are feelings I have for you. So like the same thing that I'm talking about in real life, of being like, well, I obviously have feelings, and so am I going to express those feelings?
Mm.
And a year ago, this individual expressed those feelings.
Were you expecting that? Did you see it coming?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. It wasn't like, whoa, that's way out of left field. I saw it and I went, okay. And, this person is somebody who I also look at, have a ton of respect for, and is really, really incredible and beautiful in many different pieces, and, divorced. And so there's different, things to be able to consider with kids and that kind of stuff. So there's all these different, there's the first one who, that door was never closed. And I had very big emotions for her, 2-3 years ago. Enough to be able to walk away at that time and go, hey, this is just not the right time. Because she just got off she was engaged and she just got out, and there was pieces and parts of her trauma that weren't healed yet that I was being a reminder of. And so it scared her, not me who I am, but pieces of the relationship that made her just
resemblance.
Made her like totally reject. So then she reject, but then pull back and be like, oh my gosh, but you're so amazing. And like,
that makes sense. It's like identifying, okay, this is what she needs to get through until she's ready, which is great, because then you don't have like a premature mess for either of you or anything.
That's right.
So you have multiple doors that are open.
Yes.
But there's what do you mean there's more? What does that mean? You've told us about these three.
Yeah, there's three.
Which are maybe like, what do you say? The currently like prime contestants. It sounds like you're the prize. I mean, you are the prize, man. Damn it. But what about these other open doors? Where are they coming from? What are they? If you had to kind of lump them into categories.
Yeah, I put the Hinge. So like the different Hinge conversations that I've had and have opened with. When my parents were in town right before I left for the retreat, I met somebody on Hinge, and we met up and had a really short coffee date. And she was taken off and traveling, and then I was going to do my retreat, and I just really haven't reconnected. Again, like after the retreat, there were so many things that shifted, and different doors open, different emotions that were happening. And I was just like, okay, well, I need to take a pause on Hinge, because there's all these different other like emotions or channels that have opened up. And so there's still the Hinge side of like, okay, well, I'm going to also keep my doors open here on, these different people, because the first one lives back in Reno. The in real life is here in Austin, and the other one is also in Nevada. And so the other two, it's not like I'm like, all right, well, let's go grab coffee and let's
it's not like you can explore those very easily.
No.
But the ones that maybe you don't know as well that are on Hinge, like you said, for example, this one you had a brief coffee date and then you guys were traveling. Do you have an urge to get to know her better? Like, are you kind of excited about that idea or not so much? Okay, so that was just kind of an example of maybe
Ye-
some inbound interest.
Yeah, there's again, and there's some like I just scrolled through this morning of like, okay, well, we're about to do the show. Let me scroll through and like there's so many inbounds, but there was a certain one that I saw. I was like, ooh, actually, I'm really like very pretty, a lot of different values. I'm like, man, I want to engage in this more.
Mm,
And so I know that there's still that door over here,
hmm
right, on Hinge, and um, I it's not, I wouldn't say juggling, but like,
I mean, in a way, it is assessing slash juggling opportunities.
assessing my emotional like load
Mhm.
and who's there. I mean, the one that's here in Austin is the one where like before the next show, like the conversation
Yeah,
will happen of like,
it's got to happen.
hey, what's happening? What's the feelings and emotions and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And two,
Are
five,
we rolling again?
five.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
That's a great
Are-
beatbox
yeah,
interlude.
we had to. Do we just like say, hey, we had technical difficulties?
Yeah, yeah, we could. Hey, we had technical difficulties. You having? We were beatboxing
We
while
were
we had technical
beatboxing,
difficulties.
rhyming while we were fixing the mic.
Yeah.
I don't know where we were at.
We were talking about how you have these different doors open.
Yeah, that's right.
One is Hinge, and you're kind of recapping. There's opportunities
Yeah.
in Nevada. There's some here, and the one here,
Yeah.
you were saying, I gotta have this conversation, basically piss or get off the pot for this opportunity. So by next episode, we'll probably have some indication of whether or not that's a long-term option for you or not. So my question is,
Mm-hmm.
well, actually more of a statement, because in the beginning you're like, hey, I was down for a little while, but here you are hopping off this rock bottom springboard with opportunities. Multiple doors are cracked open, as you said.
Yeah, you just got to run a retreat.
Well, outside of that, I do think there are some things that would be very valuable for people if they haven't already to kind of pinpoint in this story. One is you were doing what you love and what you're good at and what you're experienced at, and that is very magnetic.
Mm.
And I think whether or not people are on Hinge or in real life, when they're in that mode, their ability to attract the right kind of person of the opposite gender is magnified. So I think that's a huge natural attraction kind of, I don't even know what the enhancement.
Yeah.
The other part of it is going back to the basics of setting your frame and building your foundation, which is principle 1 in the book. It's never too frequent to go back and be like, hey, am I like, what are my limited resources? Where am I overstretching myself? Not just in the dating world, but in general. Because when you kind of feel fragmented, or that you don't have the resources to invest in it, or that you're not getting a return on those resources, it changes subtly your mentality. And that affects even things like, you would think Hinge, no one can tell the feelings that come through it. But there are subtle ways that men and women change the way they interact based on their mindset that the receiving parties can totally detect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's never too frequent to go back and have kind of like an audit on like, how's my whole life?
Yeah.
Right. Let's take dating out of it. Do I like my week to week? Do I feel exhausted and spread too thin, like too little butter over too much bread?
Yeah.
Or do I feel really good? I'm in my zone and I'm after my purpose and fulfillment, and I got my social circles. And that doesn't mean people have to have their whole lives figured out.
That's right.
But like, are you somewhat content? Do you feel like you're on the way or supporting or building your ideal life before you bring anyone into it?
Right. Yeah.
And I think you did a combination of those things by kind of pulling back, doing this retreat, and kind of like finding your mojo again. Not that you ever lost it. There's a little bit of reinvigoration, a little bit of revival. And I think those are part of the reasons why you have these inbounds. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Oh, no, I mean, completely. I was thinking to myself, what's really attractive to me is seeing somebody in their genius, like seeing a woman who is incredibly good at sport, doing that sport is very attractive to me. Seeing somebody, a woman in her genius of dance or singing is very attractive to me, right? Because when we're in our genius like that, it takes us, we might be in this crowd and whatever level, right? And it makes us go all of a sudden bump way up, because it's like, whoa, I haven't seen this type of genius. Maybe I have, but very few times.
Yeah.
And if I have any type of interest with that person, all of a sudden they just go hard and they jump all the way to the top. And so I definitely feel a lot of those different doors of those, because, all three of those that I gave you an example, all three of them were at the retreat.
Mm.
All three of them saw, me in my genius. And all three of those emotions got amplified.
Yeah.
And it was definitely, for me, I felt fully fulfilled because I just did something that I love to do, right? And I'm just coming off another weekend of, presenting and being in my zone and being in my genius again. And so my energy again is like, big and very aligned and very secure in where I'm at. With still the the somewhat of the frustration of like, man, how long? Like, I'm a dang good dude. How long is this going to take?
There's a part in the book actually where I get really vulnerable about my process of going on almost 80 first dates. And it was like date like 50. First, and there was a handful of second dates, but I really knew what I was looking for after marriage. So I didn't entertain a second date if I didn't really feel good about potential that I wanted to explore.
Yeah.
And so there was a point where I said, okay, I don't have any more questions. Like I don't have questions about what I want. What am I doing wrong? Yada, yada. The only question that remained was, how long will it take me to find the woman that I want? And I don't know if that's a question anyone can answer, but I do. What I'm saying is I think it's a good sign that you're asking yourself this question. It's not, how do I meet people? What do I want? Should I use the app in real life? The only question is like, how long? And that means you have a process and it's just a matter of repetitions.
That's right.
At least that's how I would frame it. And actually from that, I have one other observation and two questions that I think will help dissect this down in a really valuable way. My observation is when you were emanating that level of magnetism, it wasn't because you were trying to. It goes back to kind of what we talked about with the authenticity and Hinge in terms of differentiating. It's an organic differentiator when you're doing more of what you love, not what you're doing because you think that it will make you more magnetic. And that's the catch-22 that I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to emulate what Joel does. Or I'm going to take this personality that women seem to like or men seem to like, and I'm going to do what they do. And it's not going to work for you. And I know that sounds a little cliche and woo-woo, but you got to pick the thing that is you and become more of you versus, and this will happen pretty organically, versus trying to copy or emulate. And so my questions are, because you were in that mode, is there any part of you that wonders whether or not these women were magnetized to you because they might be a good match or because you were simply so attractive and magnetic in that moment?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Big time. I would say that there was, now I don't know this, but there was other women who were there who were magnetized just like, whoa, like this, like to be a, strong and leading, but then also vulnerable and like crying and telling my story, about, the engagement that I had that broke off in 2019 and talking about how difficult that was, like that show that range. I think there was women that were just like, oh my gosh, this is what I want in a man, right? For those three, they knew me before that moment. Like all three of them knew me for that moment. And that's what I was saying. Like they hadn't seen me in that genius. And when I jumped into it, I think for them, it just amplified all the characteristics they've already seen within me. And they're just like, oh, you're capable of that much more. And I believe it was very magnetic. And to be completely like frank, like there was no part of me that was thinking about women.
Yeah.
I was in full leadership mode. I was taking care of everybody. I felt a responsibility to create a container for everyone there, male, female, didn't matter. And there was moments where I noticed I was actually stopped and said, "Hey, can I get a hug? Like, can I get one of those hugs that I've seen you giving everybody else?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course. Like, here I am, you know." And whether that was a player part of it as well.
Mm,
I think we've talked about that or touched on that. It wasn't that I was like playing games or
right.
I was
You
trying to
weren't
avoid it. I was
strategically
at
using it.
all. But I just wasn't being like, "Hey, I'm going to give you all my attention right now,"
Mm-hmm.
because there were so many other people that were
Yeah.
there. It wasn't like I was trying to get myself to be closer, and be it with that person.
Yeah.
It was, hey, there's 29 other people here that I'm taking care of.
Which is really important because some people would latch onto that idea and say, okay, strategically, this is why, and I hate this idea, but this is why it exists in like the pickup world or the Riz culture world, which I detest, is that if you ignore women, then they'll like be attracted to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not to say that to some degree that doesn't work, but they're picking up on what you're talking about, and then they're trying to reproduce it artificially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, okay, it comes from a semblance of truth,
Right, right, right.
but I think it doesn't work when you do it on purpose and you do it for the wrong reasons. It's when you're just in your element. It happens again. I keep using this word, organically. So I think it's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
And there are some women who, because they're inundated with suitors, it does snap them out of their patterns to say, oh, this guy is ignoring me. It's like, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're entertaining an option for the right reasons. It could be more about like validation or like, well, everyone else is giving attention. Why isn't this guy? And I don't think any of these reasons are good reasons for men and women to play games.
Right.
But it's just interesting that they're rooted in some foundational healthy principles.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
kind of, evil, even if it's not intended to be evil, can't really create. It can only twist what already exists. And I think that this is a good example of that.
Big time.
Yeah. So you talked about last time, and you said that Hinge is an open door, but you talked about revamping it, going back to your profile because I got some ideas. Maybe I might do this, that, and the other. Did you actually apply those ideas, or are you just so burnt out? You're like, let's just see what Hinge does.
No, I went back. I changed some different pictures. So like my very first picture that I had, my main picture, what's it called? What do we call it?
Oh, yeah, it's not like a profile picture, but it is like the primary picture, the first picture.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's technically called.
We'll call it the primary picture that most people see. I actually took a picture of me and one of my clients with like my proclivity sweatshirt on, and him and I just getting done with the retreat. And I have a certain glow about me. He has a certain glow about me, and it's a picture of me, and particularly my hair being longer. Because all of my photos are, me in short hair. I mean, last time I had long hair was 15 years ago.
Yeah. And for the record, long hair is what you see now.
That's exactly. Yeah.
You didn't have a wig on if you.
Yeah, totally.
Dreadlocks.
If you've been watching, like you've watched my hair get longer and longer throughout these episodes.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing that I was noticing because one, I have gotten it from literally every single woman that I have talked to that's a friend or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, Michaela and Mallory.
100%. There's like, you look a lot better with long hair. Keep that.
Yeah.
And they're very adamant, like not playing around.
And those are not women that are going to sugarcoat things for you.
No.
You're going to hear their opinion one way or the other.
Well, and my employees are like, no, keep your hair growing out and let it keep growing out. Because I cut it a little bit from last time. And they're just like, no, don't do that again. Just let it keep growing out.
Yeah, you got a great head of hair, dude.
Yeah, thank you. So do you.
What does this become?
If I can't get a wife, I'll get a husband. And so I changed a couple of photos to be able to be a representation of where I'm at now, because now looking back at those photos of my hair short, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I do look different, and if that's what they're seeing, and then all of a sudden I show up, it's going to be different for them.
Yeah.
So that's something that I changed. I've changed a couple of different prompts a little bit.
It's not necessarily a huge overhaul, just more of a refinement or tweaks? Is that?
Yeah, it's a refinement, and I really am at a point of going like, man, this has been good, and is this time to do like a full rehaul? And I believe it's time to be able to get some, and I'm getting more and more pictures with my longer
Yeah.
hair, but I think it's time to be able to get some professional photos just to update business wise, be able to have some professional photos of my hair being longer, and also just being able to get some normal photos that I can share and be able to update on Hinge.
I had just an idea and it hit me, and I wasn't thinking about it before, but something you said really sparked it. It could be interesting for anyone listening too, if they're on Hinge or considering getting back on the dating apps with the holidays coming up, because it's the 13th episode, which makes it 31st. It's Halloween. So it's Friday the 13th in a way.
Boom, boom, boom.
So spooky idea is, what if, because the holidays are upcoming.
Yeah.
And it's cuffing season. If you don't know what that means, this is where people start to want to be cozy. They're a little lonely. So situationships that have to do with cuddling or whatnot and not being alone happen. People curl up at a cozy fire. Sounds great. I'd prefer to do it with my girlfriend, or if I was single, I'd prefer to find a significant other. But people get these temporary substitutes. Makes sense. Loneliness is an epidemic. We'll talk about it later. I sometimes wonder, from a dating app perspective, if it's a good time to take a break, especially if you've been doing it for a while, or you're kind of coming around to the idea, but you're not sure because people will do stuff for the holidays. There's a lot more lonely people, I think, on the apps who say what other people, they think other people want to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not normally like pessimistic or everyone's out to get you, but just something to consider. How does it sound when I say, hey, deactivate Hinge, don't delete your profile, deactivate it, take a break for a couple months, see if you miss it, see what happens in the real world, spend the holidays doing what you need to do for you and your friends and your family. January 1-ish, come back around. You're like, yeah, you know what? I miss Hinge. Maybe there's some more opportunities on there that weren't. A lot of people do the same thing.
Like that.
Then you can revamp your profile. I'm not saying you have to do it, but how does that idea land with you? You're going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
A man of action, if nothing else.
Yeah. No, I actually feel it was one thing I was thinking about, of just like, there's these multiple, again, what I say in real lives. And I actually just remembered, I had a call with one of my clients, my business development clients. And right out the gate, she was like, listen, I watch Wife or Bust. She lives in Virginia. She was like,
oh, really? My homeland.
Homeland, Richmond. And she was like, listen, I was walking with my friend the other day and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, Joel would be perfect for her. And we were chatting. I said, well, listen, Mandy, like, send me your contact information. I'll take it from there. Like, you don't have to do anything else. I'm like, listen, I've done this multiple times with people all over the United States and world. Give me the contact information. I'll take it from there. And sure enough, when I was driving here, she was like, hey, here's the contact information. She knows. And so, again, another in real life where what you were just saying to me is like, okay, what if I just go, hey, guys, I know it's a what if. I'm shutting down Hinge. Okay, moving into November, December, for the rest of the year of Q4, Hinge is no more. It's gone. If you know someone during, what'd you say, cuffing season?
Cuffing season. Let's call it the holidays, but cuffing, yeah, like
cuffing. Okay, cuffing.
Actually, I don't know if like you're handcuffed to someone, but like it's like you guys are partners for companionship, or feeling lonely or wanting to be warm, cuddle. I honestly don't understand it. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know why cuffing, because it's like you're cuffed to them. It's like a temporary situationship. Understand? I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna call it cuffing.
It seems churlish and remedial.
I'm gonna call this out for the next 2 months. I'm in cuffing season, and I'm going.
You're in cuffing season.
I'm in cuffing season.
You don't want to be in season. It's like you're being hunted by people.
Maybe, I don't know, but we're gonna play it.
I'm taking a break for cuffing.
Yes.
I don't mean to correct you, but I don't think. I want to go like, hello, my name is Joel. I'm in cuffing season.
I'm not going to say that, dude.
Did I mishear you?
No, I did say that, but I'm not going to introduce it. I'm just saying, can you let me finish here?
Yeah, my bad.
I'm going to be in a season where we'll call it an IRL. in real life,
I
right?
like that.
For the next 2 months. And so if anyone's out there and you're thinking about, oh, man, holiday season or this person, reach out. Reach out to Life or Bust. Reach out to me, joel@proclivity.co. If there's someone out there that you think, man, this guy right here is awesome. I followed his story. I believe this person could be great. I am in IRL, not cuffing season, because Chris made fun of me. And I'm going to commit to that and take a break from Hinge as it was feeling overwhelming, and go into real life and just have my focus on meeting people in real life. I mean, who knows with any of these other women that I'm talking about right now, and also this new contact of being in real life and seeing what that would be. To turn the screen back on, please press any button.
I don't know if we press a button up there or back here, Zach. The screen just turned off. You know, it was indicative of, it's like, oh, Joel's leaving Hinge. Power down.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I like that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say for anyone that's watching, again, considering getting on the apps, maybe already on the apps, it doesn't just have to be around the holidays. But when you find slumps happen, they're inevitable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good just to step away and come back. And it's the same, like as an author, same with the book. I worked. I'm like, man, step away, come back, boom, renewed perspective. You're excited again. So if you're cynical, if you're jaded, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're discouraged, a quick break never hurt anything. What I would suggest is don't delete the account, but deactivate it. Because then you might have to go through some of the similar matches and you have to get in the good graces of the algorithm again, especially if they followed the Hinge guide that we put out there and follow the first few episodes.
Yeah.
You don't want to undo all the good that you've done. No. Just pause it, deactivate it so it's not live. You're not getting inbounds. It's just pause.
Yeah.
You come back to it when it's the right time. And there's a lot of other things in life without being grandiose or cryptic and overly analogous. I think there's a lot of things where you're like, you know, I've made a lot of progress. Pause. Let me focus on some other things, and then I'll come back refreshed and renewed. It's the same thing with the gym. Right? Like it's good to break down the muscle fibers, but you got to recover to come back stronger.
That's right.
And I think you're in a perfect position to do that, which is why it popped into my head. I got so excited.
Oh, that's great.
I think, you know, from a strategic standpoint and seasons, I think it is a good time to do it.
Yeah.
But it can happen to people at any time of year, really,
or
any situation. Like perhaps like you lose your job, or you know, you have a particularly interesting dating experience that kind of has you needing some more recovery. Or maybe there's just a lot of stress in somewhere else in your life.
Yeah.
You're not losing or taking a step back by hitting pause. So I just want to encourage you and people for that. In fact, I have a men's group that I meet with every 2 weeks that I facilitate. And a lot of guys have found great results by, like, they really get in the weeds, they get some momentum, they experience a slump, they get back into it, but they don't feel like themselves.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's a little bit of resentment along with feeling discouraged, but it's really easy to turn that to raindrops on an umbrella and slide right off with just sometimes a very small break. Honestly. So I wasn't planning on talking about that, but super helpful.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. It feels very aligned. So that's it. Done.
We're done. Closing shop, burn down the studio. For the next couple of weeks between now and the next episode, what will you be focusing on, considering Hinge is on pause / deactivated?
What I was just thinking about is, one, going in, like, cleaning up Hinge. So there's all those inbounds, going and just cleaning the whole thing, swiping that thing out, deactivating it, deleting the app. That's going to clear a lot of weight just on my
probably capacity. Right?
Yeah.
It's like on the back of your head a little bit.
And to be able to, it feels very refreshing to me right now to be able to go, you know, it was this hybrid that was always bouncing in my head. Like, you know, walking past people on the trail or talking to some people in the coffee shop. And I'm like, I can always go back to Hinge. And, like, to make this cut of, like, no, there is going to be no inbound other than prospecting. Like, getting out there, going and introducing myself, being able to get a lead live. Like, what's your name? First, last name and phone number. Like, that's how you get a lead. And going and doing it in real life and going out there and also seeing, again, like, there's these different doors that are somewhat open. I think it's gonna be really important, just like with Hinge, be able to close those doors as well. Moving into 2026, be able to pop in and get some pictures taken. I'm gonna be in Reno. My photographer is in Reno, and so I'll set some times to be able to get some good pictures taken. And obviously, holiday season, you're gonna have a ton of photos, or you're gonna get taken of at the time. So that's gonna be some really good times. And then, heal this heel. You and I. Just going to be healing our heels.
Yeah, we both have injured heels.
Yeah, that's it. That's going to be the move.
Yeah. Which heel is which? They only have a letter difference. The part of this that really resonates with me is a year ago at this time, I was back on Hinge prematurely because I was writing the book. I'd done it once before. I was in a 2.5-year relationship. I thought it was very premature for me to get back on, but I had been grieving the relationship before it was over, so I thought I was ready. So I got back on. And after a few weeks, I was like, oh, I should absolutely not be on here. I'm not ready. And I was hurting people unintentionally just because, I wasn't ready. And then I did this and I felt so good. And so then I came back in January refreshed. And in a few days of being on there, following the guide we put together for people, the principles of my book, this never happened this fast. And I was on Hinge almost like a part-time job for 12 months. So keep that in mind. I got back on. Boom, early January, I had 7 dates lined up after being on there for a few days because I did the whole thing about like authentic profile, really narrowing down my search parameters to what I actually wanted and using roses carefully but strategically as a accountability investment. And 7 dates lined up. The second one was with Mallory, who I'm dating now, and we moved in together last month. We've been dating for 10 months, and I met her on Hinge. And I canceled all the other dates because after the first date, I was so excited about her. The reason I say all that, I do not think I would have been in the right headspace had I not taken a break before the holidays, because that's what I needed. Not everyone might need it. I just want to use that as a real life case study for how effective it can be if this is what you need. So the only question you need to ask yourself is to kind of remove what you think people want, or even the seasonal tactical idea of looking on when to take a break, but like, what do you really want or need right now? Be honest with yourself. And if that's a break from dating apps, or it's to get on the dating apps, so do it. It's that simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Done.
So outside of you doing those things to clean it up, I guess really we're going to touch on these open doors, the slightly cracked doors.
Yeah. There's like a couple Nevada girls and Texas girl and now Virginia girl. So, I mean, who knows? I might be going to your homeland here soon.
Yeah.
So I'll be back in Nevada for Christmas.
So you might see that's what I was just going to ask you.
Guaranteed.
You're going to see both of them.
Guaranteed.
So really, I would say your challenge is almost timing, clarity, and discernment between these doors that are all partially open.
Yeah.
Jar, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and then there's Pitch a Friend as well. And that event coming up, and like being pitched in front of 700 people. And so there's that. So I totally forgot about that. Pitch a Friend, November, traveling, and I'm going to be going to San Francisco.
Well, that wraps up episode 13.
That's it.
See you guys next time.